Right, so today we're playing a bit more Minecraft. The plan of action today is we're going to be fixing up our mine. So unfortunately I did record for almost 2 hours doing the actual mine itself, but I'm an idiot. As I was uploading, I was going through my files and deleting them, but I deleted the file as it was uploading on YouTube of the edited video and the video before it was edited. But this is where we got to with the whole mine. So the plan is we're gonna remove the cobblestone from the floor here, and then we're gonna have stone going all the way up here. It's gonna be a monotonous one, tedious maybe, yes, but is it necessary? No. But at the end of the day, you do a bunch of unnecessary things in life anyway, just to make stuff a little bit better. Like, as long as it looks good, that's the only thing that matters. But I did already smelt up some stone. We've got some more in the furnaces going right now. Oh, pretty much all done. Let's just grab it all then. But yeah, so I did have a whole video. It ended up being edited down to, it was still about 45 minutes, something like that, and I fucking deleted it like an idiot. But it is what it is, that's life. So let's just craft up as many of these as we can, but I think we've got enough. We've probably got too many, but is what it is. That's life. It's better to have more than not have enough. There we go. That fuck. Anyway, that's that. Let's actually start with this. But it's going to be a bit shit because there's going to be fuckloads of water, because obviously you can see it coming through the ceiling now. I'm going to just quickly go back down here, check that there's no torches actually on the floor. That's just going to get ruined. Might as well start from bottom to top. So let's start getting rid of all of this cobblestone. But everything's so monotonous when you're doing it. Like, it's just, I enjoy playing, but especially like this. I've been playing Minecraft since I was little, back when Minecraft Lite was on the Apple App Store. That's when I started playing. But it's like, I enjoy playing the game, but it's stuff like this that is just so monotonous and repetitive. But gotta do what you gotta do for it to look nice at the end of the day. Alright, so that's 1/4 done, and that already looks 10 times better. I don't know whether to do the roof as well, because I think that there isn't as important. If we've got plenty of stuff left over, we'll do the roof. But right now the main goal is to just get the floor in place and then make our way up the actual stairs herself. Fucking shut up, phone. Fucking, while I was cooking dinner earlier, I had a weird thought. I was there, I was thinking, alright, think about what to record. I was like, well, it's a bit shit, so I'll probably end up fucking up the files again, because I've done this a few times. Fucking accidentally deleted videos. And one of my videos got age restricted, actually. One of them got age restricted. Like, I don't even know how to go around that. Maybe it's just I've got to stop fucking swearing, but unfortunately I'm British, so we swear every 2 fucking seconds. But yeah, while I was thinking about what to record, I was like, I was thinking about it. See, as soon as you gotta record, you gotta be a different version of yourself, sort of thing. Not like you gotta act completely different, but you got to emphasize yourself a lot. You got to project more. You got to be something that, not necessarily that you're not, but something that isn't you. And that got me thinking, like, every single day, people, everyone does it. Even when people say that, no, they're their self. People will say, just be yourself, just be yourself, just be yourself. No one is ever their self. Like, so many things each day factors towards that. Like, people say, no, I'm just myself, I just be myself. You don't. Who you're around, where you are, all affects how you act. Like, if you're at a funeral, you can't be yourself. You know? Even when you're with friends, family, parents, cousins, whatever, you're not yourself. Everyone has a false mask, I'd say, over. Because when you really think about it, depending who you're with means you got to think about what you say. And the second you got to think about the stuff you say, the actions you do, that's when you're not being true to yourself. Because if you were truly just yourself, you'd just do whatever you wanted. But everyone doesn't. Everyone has their own force, like, of self. Like, it's just a weird thing. I don't even know how I end up getting onto the topic of thinking about it, but I did. And I was like thinking to, like, applying it to myself. Even when you're with someone that you love, like, could be a girlfriend, a wife, kids, you're going to be different when you're around them, because you've got to be a certain way. You can't do or say certain things. Like, in my own life, like, it's always a thing of opinions. Other people don't like your opinions, so you don't say it. And it's little bits like that that aren't true to yourself. You're not being true to yourself. Like, it's a case of like, you're sort of being what other people want you to be. Other people want you to be, like, if you don't care about stuff, like certain things that someone else cares about, you got to pretend that's you not being true to yourself. Like, everyone does it. You always pretend to care about something when you don't care at all. Like, that's how I started getting on the thinking of it. I was thinking, I pretend that I care about stuff just to appeal to other people. And obviously you get to a point where you don't, but then that there ends up causing trouble, dramas. And if you're like me, you just can't ever be bothered with it. So you just put on a false mask of what you actually care and think about. And it does get quite long and frustrating, because sometimes you don't want to pretend to care or pretend that you have the same thoughts and opinions as someone else, because people are so quick to tell you their opinion, but as soon as you say something that is opposite to their opinion, you're all of a sudden a bad person. Like, yes, maybe what you're thinking to them isn't right, but at the end of the day, to you it is. Your opinions are formed off of your experiences. Like, if you think a certain way about something, it's because of how you was raised or what you've been through. And especially nowadays, people ain't wanting to hear that. Like, as I grew up, obviously, I was raised in a more traditional way, you could say. Like, my nan was pretty much my mum growing up, and it was always a case of she was like, always get yourself someone that will be there, be at home. But obviously that's a generation that she was born in and raised in. So obviously me now getting older, growing into an adult, stuff like that, that's what I look for. But it's exceptionally hard to find someone like that. Like my girlfriend at the minute, my girlfriend, love her to pieces, but she's not like that. She's very woke in the way of thinking. Obviously there's no problem with it, I don't care. Like, I always let her say her opinions is what it is. Like, that's what she thinks. But it's always, when I tell her how I think, how I say, I'll go to work and stuff like that, and you can stay home, and then when it comes to having children, it's always, no, that's wrong, that's so sexist, that's degrading towards women. It's not a case of being degrading or sexist, it's just the way I was raised. At the end of the day, like, you don't have to do something just because someone else thinks that you should. Yeah. Obviously, I'd prefer it if she was the sort of person to not want to go out and everything like that, but I can't change that. I can't do anything about that. So I just have to deal with it how it is. And obviously, just because I think that there isn't something I personally would want to be doing, I want it to be a different way. That makes me bad. But it doesn't. It doesn't at the end of the day. Just because you think different don't make you bad. But people are so quick to say, if you don't think the same way as most people do, it's bad. But it's bullshit. Because you're your own person. You think certain ways because of how you was raised, what you grew up with, what you saw, what you didn't see. Like, obviously, since I was young, my dad always went to work every day. Never really, he would go and see friends and stuff like that, but I was raised in a pub. It wasn't like, oh, my parents used to go clubbing and all that. No. My parents had me when they was young. My dad was 2 years older than I am when he had me, and then he had my little sister. Obviously, yeah, parenthood gets in the way of being able to go out and stuff like that, but I think it gets to a certain point where obviously there's people that are in their like mid-20s going out every weekend. I do enjoy going out sometimes, depends on who, with and where, but it's like, even when I do go out, I want to be home by 2 o'clock. I leave every time at 2. Since about June last year, I've been on a total of 3 nights out, and bear in mind I turned 19 August last year. It's like, it's growing up, because if you're constantly going out, spending money, drinking, it just shows that you're not that mature. You haven't realised what actually is important. Like, spending time to yourself, yeah. I'm not saying going out every now and then is bad, because going out every now and then is fine. But it's like people that you'll see at the club every single weekend. Like, that's what I was like when I first turned 18. I was going out twice every weekend, and then during the week going out drinking as well. It's the biggest waste of money because you end up living above your means. You don't live to them, you live past them. Because you're so encapsulated by the thrill of going out, being with friends, getting drunk, you know, being in a state where most of the time you don't even remember. It's just fun that you think it is at the time. You think it's fun. But then, obviously, as you go out of that phase, you start to realise how much of a waste of money, waste of time, waste of sort of, not life, but, well, yeah, waste of a portion of your life that you wasted on it. Like, I'm not saying don't go out, don't have fun, but it's in moderation. Like, I tend to only go out for special occasions now, because I know what it's like when you overdo it. I know what it's like when you end up living above your means, and then you end up financially troubled. Like, I know what it's like. I've been through it. Still going through it now. Still trying to make up for all the money that I end up spending at the time. Because it's very easy to spend. Because how much everything is nowadays. It's like the cost of living. Just for the prices of some of these things. Like, you think, oh, I go out 3 times a week, but I only spend £20 to £30 every time I go out. Alright, yeah. Spending £20 to £30 per time isn't that bad. No, it's not. But then when you look at it at a bigger scale, £60 each week, 240 every month. Yeah. Each year, what's that? That's over £3 grand. But I guarantee if you look back at it and think about how much you've actually spent, you would wish that you didn't spend it in a heartbeat. You'd think straight away, oh, that was stupid. Why would I spend all that money? I wish I could go back and not. That's exactly what I done. Obviously, not everyone's the same. Not everyone's going to go through it the same way as me. That's what happened to me. I thought that was the biggest waste of money. I wish I could go back in time and not do it, or do it to a less extreme. But obviously there's no such thing as a time machine yet, at least, so I can't do fuck all about it. But it's a case of learning, improving, not making the same mistakes again. Because when you're young, obviously I know I'm still young, but I'm speaking about it as a perspective as I'm past that phase now. But when I was 18, there's nothing that me and my friends wanted to do more than go out drinking, clubbing, you know. But the amount of money that we collectively spent is baffling. Like, each night we would spend 60, 80. I know some nights it was closer to like 200, just for a night that you're most likely not going to remember the next day. Or even if you do, in a few weeks, months, you won't. Because I can't definitively say what I remember from when I was going out, when I was in that phase. So I don't. Because even though you might not have blacked out, like drinking, it's a thing of you're still in a position where your brain isn't functioning at the same level. So your memory recall will be worse. That's literally it, memory. My memory's not the best now. Obviously it's not like I've got Alzheimer's or dementia. It's not that bad. But if someone tells me something, I most likely am not going to remember. Like, I'll have a conversation with my girlfriend. She tries to bring up that conversation at a later date. I don't remember. I don't remember. That's the thing. It affects you in ways that aren't immediate. Obviously, alcohol isn't all good for you, it's bad. Even if you drink in moderation, it's still bad for you. I'm not going to say that I don't drink now. I do. But it's a case of when you're drinking, don't drink too much. Because it is easy. It is easy to drink a lot. And it is easy to overdo it. Get in the wrong crowds, end up going out all the time. Spending money that you don't end up having. Getting yourself into a position where you're still trying to get out of it 6 months later. And it's not good. It's not good for your mental health either. Because at the time you're having fun. But then when you go forward, them 6, 8 months, you then are worrying about how you're going to pay this, how you're going to pay it off, using credit cards, how you're going to fix it, how are you going to be able to afford to see people, how are you going to afford to go out, because you're just trying to squeeze in all the money that you do have into paying off what you owe, essentially. But it is life. People make decisions that they end up regretting. That's part of growing up. I'm just glad that I've already done it, because I know plenty of people that are still doing it and they're mid-20s. Like people that I work with, 24s, 25s, going out all the time. Like, bruv, by the time I'm that age, I want to start having a family. Not going out, hooking up, drinking. I want to go have a family. I want to start settling down. Hopefully be able to move out. Get my own place. That's the thing. These people still end up living with their parents at that age. Obviously now, it's not exactly the most obtainable thing, moving out, for most of us. Most people my age, we're most likely not going to afford to move out for a very long time. But that's just is what it is. Like, it's either you cry about it, or you work hard enough and you get past it. Like, obviously working your whole life isn't exactly going to get you everything you want, isn't going to make you financially free, because businesses are shit unless you own it. Because whoever you work for wants to get the most value and money out of you, so they're going to try and pay you as little as they can, because that's their goal, to get you to do as much work as possible for as little money. Obviously there is stuff like minimum wages, but then if you're on minimum wage, you're still finding it hard to afford to have nice things, afford to treat your family, stuff like that, because everything just adds up. After you pay your bills, when you're on minimum wage, you haven't got a lot left. And then if you're in a position, like I said earlier, where you did end up going out, spending loads of money, getting yourself into debt, as soon as you've paid your bills, you're then paying back off the debt. So you've got no extra money to do stuff nice for yourself, the people you care about. And it's like you start to drift apart from people then. People are, it's not that they're just your friends because of money, but people do get further and further away from you the less money you have. And it's not even because they want your money, it's a case of they want to go out, you can't afford it. They'll ask you a few times, but then you keep saying, oh no, I haven't got the money, oh no, I haven't got the money. So then it will get to a point of where they won't ask you anymore. Like, they won't see if you want to go out bowling or whatever it is, because you're at a point where you can't until you pay off a certain amount. And don't get me started on saving. Like, you can't save when you've got stuff to pay for. Obviously, people have their cars and stuff like that. Like, they're paying off their car monthly. That's another thing. If you can afford to pay triple what you're paying for a car, I don't see the harm in getting the car. But if you can't afford it, it's as simple as just don't. People default on finance payments, then obviously their car gets taken, so that money that they paid towards it, essentially nothing, because they don't have that car in their possession anymore, because they can't afford to pay it. Debt is like a trap that you get sucked into, because you end up borrowing, but you borrow an amount that will take you a while to pay back, because that's how it's set up. Like, it's set up so you can borrow more than what you earn each month, you know. So you're constantly fighting being able to pay it, but then paying for essentials as well. Like, if you're in debt and you got a car, it's not easy at all. It's hard because you got to pay for your car insurance, petrol, you know, and if something goes wrong, God forbid, then you got to pay for that. So it's just a loop of shit that fucking pisses you off because you fucked up, you done something bad, you didn't make the right choice at the time, so you can't blame it on anyone else. You only have yourself at the end of the day. That's one thing, people aren't accountable for their actions. Because if you're not accountable for what you do, then like, you're essentially nothing. Because they only take accountability when it benefits them. Like, that's literally it. People will only be accountable for their actions as long as it benefits them. I mean, like, that's obviously going to be the way it is. People don't want to make themselves seem like a bad person or anything like that. Like, I understand that, I guess, but you gotta take your actions are your responsibility. Like, you need to be responsible enough, because if you're gonna do something, stick by it. If you're gonna say something, say it. Like, people, there we go. Like, people will say stuff and straight away go, "Oh, I'm sorry, that's not what I meant," even though it is. They're just saying that to avoid backlash. Like, if you mean it, stand on it. Stand on business, you know? Like, if you're gonna say it with chest. Don't half say it. But that's just the world we live in. Obviously, there's stuff you can't say, you shouldn't say. And that there is different. Obviously there's going to be things that you can't say because it's racist, homophobic, even maybe misogynistic, but there's other things that you say that aren't any of them things, but people label it as that just because they don't like that you think like it. Like, whether you agree with what people do, don't matter, as long as you don't treat them differently because of what they do. Like, because you might not think like as if, let's say someone's homosexual, you might not think to yourself that that's right. You would never do something like that yourself. But you don't treat anyone who you know who's gay or lesbian any differently. You treat them the same, you talk to them the same as you would anyone else. But just because you don't agree with it, then people will make it out as if you're such a bad person, when you're not. Like, you'll still treat them the same as you treat anyone else. So it's not a case of, obviously there is bad people who will single people of minorities, people who are part of the LGBT out because of it. Because they're, at the end of the day, cunts. Very simply, they're dickheads. Like, I know a lot of people, I wouldn't say a lot, I know quite a few people though. Like, one of my old bosses at where I used to work, he was gay. I never gave a fuck. I never spoke to him differently to how I'd talk to anyone else. Like, I would always be like, right mate, you good? The exact same as I'd say hello to if the fella was straight. Yeah. But do I agree with what he does? Not necessarily, but I don't have the right to tell him that I don't. Like, unless he brings it up in conversation, ask my thoughts. Right. Because you could do what you want at the end of the day. That's not gonna make me think of someone as any worse. If I agree with what you want to do, I might not. Don't matter though. You do you. Like, you could do what you want. Just because I don't agree, shouldn't matter to you. Just because someone that you care about don't agree, shouldn't matter to you. You'll think, do, say what you want. Obviously, as I said, there is points where you shouldn't say some things because it's just not right to say. It's not fair to say it towards another person anyway. Everyone has their own feelings, everyone thinks differently. It's not fair. Some stuff that is said. Like, but there's always going to be people. That's the thing. I have a very easy outlook. I understand that what I do will not change how someone is. Like, and I'm fine with that. There's people that think they can make the change. They could change it. No, just leave them be. But on about change, like, people think that they're going to be able to change the world. Unless you're like in the top 1%, 1% of the 1%. Because top 1% in the world's like 200,000 a year. That's enough to live comfortably, but you're not going to be able to do too much more. If you're in the top 1% of the 1% of the 1%, alright, you can make change because you have the financial backing. So at the end of the day, just because you have a voice, just because you use your voice, doesn't mean you're going to be able to make anything change. Just because you argue about what should happen or what shouldn't happen, doesn't mean you're going to make the change. Because if you just got to think about it, you're not. Like, obviously, yes, putting your point out there, saying something's wrong, yeah, that's good. because more people think, oh, you know what? If they're going to speak out, I'll speak out about it too. But it's not going to be the change, because at the end of the day, money is the factor that talks. Because majority of the time, if you haven't got the money, people won't listen to you. Like, if you go into a room full of the world's elites, they ain't gonna give a fuck what you gotta say, because you're not gonna be able to benefit them. Like, it's not ever a case of the government. It's not like the government can't do anything. The government can't make changes, because they can. It's just they won't, because it doesn't align with their agenda at the end of the day. Because when you think about it, people in power have donors. People donate money to them towards their campaign. But the people who are in charge, they want what's best for the people that donate. Because if they donate and they are able to make rules that benefit the people that have donated, guess what? Next time an election, them same people who donated are going to donate again, because they know that the people that are in charge are gonna change stuff towards them. Gonna change it for them. But that's a shitty thing. Like, it's not because I'm, what's the word? What's the word? What's the thing where pessimistic? It's not because I'm pessimistic. Like, I'm just not stupid. Because it's always good to be optimistic in life. But blind optimism is stupidity. Like, if you just constantly think everything will work how you want it to work, that's stupid. You've got to try and make change, but when change can't be made, you've got to look at it and think, am I actually going to be able to make any change on this? If it's something to do with governmental powers, probably not. Unless you're able to get in power. But if it's someone like me, who's from an average house, yeah, who has average income, whose parents aren't millionaires, they're just on an average salary, like, you're not going to be able to make change. You can think you can, but you're not going to be able to. Like, you're not going to get put into a position of authority or power. Like, obviously, yes, you could become a school teacher, a policeman, policewoman, but you're not in a position of actual power. Yes, the police do have power over the citizens to make sure that the citizens follow the laws. But who makes the laws for the police to enforce? The government. And whoever's in government are able to put across laws. Obviously, yes, they do need to be voted upon in Congress, but it's still, they can make it happen. Policemen or policewomen can't do fuck. They can't do jack shit. Right? Do you really think a policeman or woman is going to be able to make changes to the law? No, they're just there to enforce it. They're just puppets for the government. That's all it is. If you're a policeman or a policewoman, you're a puppet for the government. You're just there to enforce whatever the government says. You don't have any actual power aside from that, enforcing what the government wants. Like, I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but I'm just not stupid. I'm just not blind. Like, yeah, there is people who are in police who abuse their power. Yeah, I'm not saying that there's not. But on a tree, there's always going to be a couple bad apples. Like, you're never gonna have every apple on a tree not rot. Pretty much. That's the best way I can say it. But that's just how it is. That's just life. Like, it's the thing of like, too many people end up getting butthurt over shit. Yeah. Like, yeah, what that person said probably isn't good. No. You probably don't agree with it. No. You probably think what he said is morally wrong. Okay. But why are you now going to let that affect you and your day? Like, why are you going to let that affect you on such a level where it's causing you to be mad, be upset? Like, understand if someone's insulted you, yes, that probably would make you upset. Yes, I'm not saying they wouldn't, but if someone insults you, but you think, alright, it is what it is. They've said this. I didn't like it. Can I change it? No. Did it hurt? Did it hurt my feelings? Yeah, it might have done. But you can't change it. So, yeah, you probably do think that you're upset, and it's okay to be upset. But you also got to look at it as like, it's happened now. What am I meant to actually do about that this has happened? Because most of the time, depending on what's happened, obviously, like, if someone is assaulted, that's different. You don't just go, oh, it is what it is. Like, you could report that, but it's like, if you're assaulted physically or anything like that, of course you can report it. That's not something where you're just going, well, I just got beaten the fuck up in the high street and someone's robbed my wallet and my car keys. It's what it is. No, obviously not. I mean, you can have that mindset on it, but it does only get you so far. But it's like, stuff in the world that happens. Stuff in the world's bad. Yeah. There's loads of stuff that happens in this world that's bad. But if you think you saying to everyone, this isn't good, this needs to stop, is going to change it happening, you're delusional. Like, sometimes ignorance is the best. It's not even a case of ignorance. You can know about it. You can learn about it. But if you're going to start shouting from the rooftops, this is wrong, this needs to be changed, you're just wasting your breath. You know, majority of the time you're just wasting your breath. There's more valuable things that you could be speaking on. Like, when you're old, imagine if it was like this. When you're old, yeah, and when you die, you're there, you've got to say your last words to your family members. But as you go to say your last words, there's a counter above your head. And this counter says, run out of words. You would think back to when you said stuff. You'd think, oh, did it really matter if I said that, or is that just a waste of breath? Should I really been there screaming, shouting about that, or was that a waste of breath? Because most likely, when you think back to it, you will sit there and think, it was a waste of breath. Me saying that didn't change anything. Me saying that didn't help anyone. Me saying that was just pointing out the obvious. Like, that's what it is quite a lot of the time, is people just pointing out the obvious and thinking that they're so righteous because they've said an obvious thing. Murder is not good. Fucking well done. Nice shit. I thought everyone on the planet thought it was fucking proper cushy. No. Like, of course it's not good. I don't think anyone has ever said murder's good. Like, ever. obviously there's cases where it may indeed be necessary. Like if someone attacks you and let's say you punch them, well, it'd be classed as manslaughter. Let's say you punch them, they fall over, fucking don't ever wake up again. Yeah, it's not good, but that was an evil necessary, because it was going to be you. If you didn't do that, they would have done something to you. People aren't selfish. People need to be more selfish. Because if you just go through your lives looking out for everyone else aside from yourself, you're not going to end up anywhere. Like, yeah, you might end up somewhere, but I guarantee it's not going to be where you want to be. Because if you're constantly thinking about, oh, how's this going to affect this person? How's this going to affect this person? You're not going to end up doing anything with your life. You're going to end up constantly living in a little bubble where you're just trying to protect everyone else, but you're not looking out for yourself. Like, obviously there is people that you've got to look out for, people that you're going to be selfless for. You're going to put them before yourself, like kids or family members. But even with the case of family members, majority of the time, you're going to want to put yourself first. Like, if you've got the option to have no money at all, or take money from someone else, you're most likely just gonna say take money from someone else. Yeah, it's not good that you're taking from someone else. Like, not even a case of stealing. I'm not on about stealing. Like, it's the opportunity for, you've got an opportunity, but there's someone else that also has the opportunity. Fucking thing, can't reach. Someone else also has the opportunity. You're gonna have to put yourself first, because if you put that other person first, that's then benefiting that person, their family. But how is that then going to benefit your own family? How is you doing that going to help benefit your own family, the people you care about, people you're meant to be there protecting, making sure live well, are happy, are comfortable? It's not. It's going to make it worse, because now you don't have that job. You gave up on that just so someone else could feed their kids. Is that person going to return the favour? No. That person's going to go straight to their significant other, be like, I got the job, this person gave it to me, that's well good. That's it. But then that person isn't going to carry you in their memory. They're not going to carry you in their memory thinking, oh, you know what, when that person let me have this job, I've got to repay them for it. No, they're going to be like, that guy's fucking stupid, he would have got the job, but he just gave it to me. He said I can have it. You stupid. You got to be a bit selfish at the end of the day. Obviously, not in the case of everything, but when it's something that can better you and your family, you've got to be selfish. Because at the end of the day, there is people that are selfish, and the people that are selfish are the ones that take and give out to their own people. Because this isn't a little fairy tale land. Yeah, people will do wrong by you to benefit themselves, and they'll do right by you as well, but to benefit themselves. Majority of people will only do good things for people to benefit themselves, like these billionaires who are philanthropists. Yes, they do good by other people. They do it to benefit themselves, because they're able to, when you earn money, if before you do your tax you put a portion towards philanthropy, you don't pay tax on that money that you've separated for that. It's an expense. You could put it through as an expense. You don't pay tax on that money that you've given to charity. Like, it's the same thing with cars. People get big cars that, like the big Teslas, like Model Y I think it is, or something like that. They weigh over 2 tons. Business vehicle. Range Rovers, business vehicle. Like Mercedes-Benz G-Wagon, business vehicle. They get tax back. All the fuel tax back. If you have an electric car, that's extra tax that you get back. Like, people will do what they have to do to have their money. They won't. Like, people aren't rich because they're selfless. People are rich because they are selfish. Because to get to a point of wealth where you're that comfortable, you don't have to worry about money. It means you've had to have done wrong by someone before. Obviously, there is some cases where it's not. Very few and far between. Large majority of the time, it is because someone has done something selfish and put themselves before others. Because when you think about it, if you have a business, you can't be selfless. You've got to be selfish. Because businesses only work when you take money from other people. And if you want to be the most profitable business, you will look at trying to get things for the cheapest price you can and sell it for the highest you can. Yeah. Then when you sell it for the highest you can, then you've got to think about paying workers. So then you want to get your workers to work for as cheap as possible and do the most work for the least amount of money. That's selfish, because you could put your workers first, pay them more, and you get a little less at the back end of it. But no, they don't. They try and pay their workers minimum wage. They try and pay you as little as what's legal. Yeah, or they pay you a little above to say, no, we pay you more than minimum wage. We care about you. They only care about you until you stop performing. But that there is going to be the end of that little ramble. Again, if you enjoyed, I hope I see you again.